Considering the weather, I think it's time we work on a T-bucket in this one. We're on the kind of on the back side of the hurricane here. I think they're saying Cat 3, Cat 4, not too sure. Actually, let's keep the riffraff out. So this episode is gonna be, it's gonna be a good one. It's gonna be more of a, we'll call it an economic lesson of, yeah, we built the T-bucket as cheap as possible, but sometimes you shouldn't go as cheap as possible. Saying that because, well, we're having to install an entire new gauge set. We're gonna have to tear the gauges out of here and install a new set. Now, if you didn't see the new set, man, they're banging, and they're really good quality too. The set that was in here, I went as cheap as possible, and I would say I kind of learned my lesson. They lasted about, well, they lasted a couple days, and then they slowly started kind of going out one by one, and then at the end of the power tour, they completely failed. So we went with a different set. But anyways, these are gonna come out. The wires are labeled underneath. I did label some stuff, so we're really gonna have to dig in. What I'm scared of is, you guys see that up there? Yeah, not excited for that. These ones are a lot better quality. The mounts are better, the gauges are better, the wiring diagram is much better. Yeah, you guys want to take a look at them? All right, that's all you get. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, metal fronts, metal sides, nice grounds, internal LEDs, and then outer perimeter incandescent lighting. But really, these things are only going to work as good as they're wired. So if it's got janky wiring, it's not going to go good. So it's upside down right now. What I did was I took some measurements of the dashboard of the T-bucket, and then I have it set up. So essentially, this is the driver's side, passenger side. We're gonna flip it upside down. But I wanted to make sure that when we do the wiring this time, we have as little excess as possible. Everything is tied into each other because they all feed off of each other. On the old set, on the T-bucket, some of the stuff I fed into, some of the stuff I bypassed, just because it wasn't really a quality back set on those gauges there. So let's dive into this one. This will be fun. All right, so here's the good part. This is actually properly labeled here. And the harness, we're not using every single bit of it, which is pretty nice. So it kind of cleans up the bottom. And wow, I really like having some actual wiring diagrams. The other, I can't say as much, the other gauges sucked. Total pain in the butt. So we're using these in the white, which is lighting and speedo, and then 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So we're using 7. We're not using 8 was violet. We're not using gray. We're not using blue. We're not using green. Whatever the hell aux output is. Okay, and the remote button. We're gonna save that one. So we need to trim these out as well. And since it's push pin, I might just pull the pins themselves, but we'll see. What I'll probably do is I may bench power these up right before we actually install them. This way I can make sure that everything is crimped out perfectly. Look at this, we don't even need to get any wiring. This is all left over from the T-bucket. Oh man, I've been looking for this. All right. That'll work. We'll heat shrink that down. This will run to the volt side. It'll end at the volt side. What I want to do now though is, I've got it flipped around. Yeah, I know, it's upside down here. And I ran some jumper leads to the T-bucket for now, and I want to test our 2-inch gauges, our we'll just call them our aux gauges here. Weight on these two. These two are not tied into the hot for any of these. The directions are really, really particular about not tying those two in. I don't know why, but let's add power to these suckers. Make sure everything works. Ooh, so close to the gas tank. And we got lights. Take a look at that. They're pretty cool. They'd look even better if they had some blue LEDs up in those suckers there. Let me turn off the light. I'm not sure where the remote for that one is, but let's turn off the light. Oh, these look really good compared to the last ones. They'll look a lot better once they're actually mounted up, but I do like how they have that side perimeter lit there, and then the back lit as well. So kind of like no matter what angle you're at, they look pretty sweet. But I do know that a nice bright, those are definitely incandescent, nice bright LED in there would be sweet. But what I want to do now is let's unplug this and let's tie in, let's check our large gauges, our tack and speedo really quick. I do have to wire those ones up. I have everything pretty much set on the back for these, but not quite finalized. Let's flip these suckers around here. Do the same thing. All right, so these ones, let me get this tidied back again. So that's the hot one. All right. Now it called for the white line here to be tagged into the actual switch power. Not really too sure, because once you set the hot line, these should power up directly, but we're gonna find out here really quick. So we're gonna leave the whites out of the game for now. This is your tack wire. Put some hot to this really quick. And then let's hook this up to the power. Don't need that anymore. Let's check this here. Should be good over here. Nice. All right, so I'm guessing, I need to look at it, that white line is probably another hot there. Which I can't, it doesn't really quite say on here. It just says lighting. So let's try that really quick. And then let's just do this. See if we can get these two to. All right, here goes. Which that will make sense if that's the case here. Ah, look at that. All right, so here is what we got going on. I'll explain these pillows here in a little bit. I know it kind of looks funky and it looks very, very suspicious. I pulled all the old gauges out here, and if I haven't said it enough, I think we're on what, 22 episodes? By the door. I'm telling you guys, by the door. I literally had to, I didn't want to pull out these seats. It's too much of a pain to get everything lined up, and you're not going to lay down in here, especially my size. So I threw as many pillows as I could, and if you could see me laying down upside down with my head sticking up to try to do this, it's very comical. But you can see it's a little hard to see it. We got an absolute nightmare in there that we need to get fixed up. So now that the gauges are out, I'm gonna wait to disconnect the oil line until the end, because it is gonna drip oil and I don't want it on my pillows here. Here's a scoop on the wiring underneath. Now, I'm not an electrician, all right? I'm not pretending to be an electrician, so bear with me here. I thinned most of this junk out, cleaned up the, well, as you say, the grounding bars we installed back when we built the T-bucket. I know this looks really, really messy. All the zip ties are pretty much undone right now, but all this is essential wiring that's just kind of been untucked. It needs to actually be put away. This is what I ripped out. There's still a little more to be ripped out, but what I'm trying to find out with these gauges is the way it's set up, that it wants you to wire them in, is it doesn't want the satellite gauges powered hot with these, which I can kind of understand. But I guess what you could say is what I like about this switch setup and just the wires in general is they all kind of mesh together. But what we need to do is we need to feed the wire from, and that's our light switch there, right off of that. And I found that that only goes hot when I apply the headlights, which the headlights are on now, and then turn the headlights off. All right. So we know that's going to be our white signal hot. It's going to go to our big gauges. But what I can't figure out over here on the ignition is I have a constant hot on, which I don't know why yet. So I've got the voltmeter set up to some jumpers over here. We need to actually get this hooked up onto that. It's going to be a little hard for you guys to see the voltmeter in here the way my camera is actually set up. It's just a little difficult to get any closer, and plus I need both my hands. So I have it set up. I did check. Well, let me start over here. So I have two hot leads coming off the switch, right? And I have this constant hot right here that was going to our hot grounding bar. And if I add it to the voltmeter, okay, I'm getting a constant volt there. So I took the switch, well, we'll just call it the key, and if I put it in, no matter what direction I go, okay, it's always hot. So I think what happened was I had that wired up wrong from the beginning. All right, let's put it for the off. Now, let's move over to this hot here. Well, potential hot. So add that to the voltmeter. So now, if I come over here and turn this, you'll see we go auxiliary on the key, I get 12. If I go the other way, that's off, goes to 0, and then that's going to be our on position right before our start. So that's where we need our gauge wire to go for our auxiliaries. Now I need to figure out this little mess in the back and kind of remove some stuff here. I'd never even checked to see if these gauges would fit in the hole. They're the same size as the other ones on paper, but that's about it. Let's see here. Wow, imagine that. I can actually cut a perfectly round hole. Now on the last ones I had to trim these brackets. Let's see if we'll have to trim them on these. So the tack, we have two different options. We can drop it closer, but we'll probably just put it back where it originally was. It looks pretty good there. I actually really love the way these look here. That hole's actually a little tighter than the other ones. Interesting. Doesn't sit in there perfectly. Huh. What do you guys think about that there? Let me grab the old one so you can kind of see. Kind of do a compare side by side. What do you guys think? I think those new Omegas actually really fit the bill for this one. I do like the black on these, but these added just a little more, let's say class. Let me know what you guys think in the comments though. Like, what would you guys have gone with? Would you have gone with like a budget in the beginning, or would you have just done it right instead of saving, you know, a few, let's just say a few couple $100 versus $100 here? But yeah, let me know below. Now this is the scary part here. I've run some jumpers. I'm on the ground on the battery. I've got a few little weird things going on. So if you guys remember in the manual, you're running two separate lines, white for the lighting, and then red is going to be for your actual switched power on the gauges. So I promise you, I have not tested it out yet. But in theory, everything should work. I don't have the voltmeter hooked up yet, but I'm gonna make sure the gauge is nice. So we're good there. So we know that our setup works currently. Again, I'm just running it to some jumpers here and some hot powers down below. I wonder if, I think we need to actually let's go ahead and get the other gauges hooked up here. I think we can go ahead and push through, and then that's when we can do a little bit more cleanup here. I don't want to mount everything permanently just yet. So now let's check it out with some actual lights. So in theory, if I pull the switched power down here, I should get lights on the gauges, but I did not. Oh, here we go. My lead came undone. Let's try that again. So let's try that. now. And we got light. Damn, those look good. Those look really, really good, especially from the angle. I need to shut up. I know I've said that a million times, but these are way better than those last ones now. So let's keep pushing through. So I noticed a little something pretty cool with these actually. Maybe, I don't know, let's just say unintentional design plus bonus. My last gauges, typically gauges, you know, they have the little mount brackets that are kind of all next to each other, right? And they kind of bind up as you try to tighten them up. But what I noticed with every single set is they're all offset. And offset being in a sense that, like the fuel one was up and down, right? Oil was at an angle, and then the, what the hell is it? Oh yeah, water temp, duh. That one was actually straight. So none of them interfered with each other, actually bolting all these down. And same thing with these. The tack one was straight up and down, I believe, and then the one over here was kind of cross. So it was nice not having to bind up. Curious though, hey, what do you want? What do your guys' gauges kind of look like in the back? Are they kind of staggered like that, or are they? You want something, don't you? What do you want? You want to go outside? All right, we'll go outside. Are they kind of like horizontal all the way across, or are they all kind of randomized? I'm curious. I think it's kind of like a, you know, an unintended design feature. It actually works out pretty well considering how close I have like all my gauges set up. I'm not really binding. Again, I'm curious on what your T-bucket gauges look like. Leave it in the comments section below. I guess it doesn't really matter if they're T-bucket gauges or not. The gauges that I'm using aren't really intended for a T-bucket, but they're the best damn ones I could find though. Whoa, 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 stinky dog, what you want? You never do this. You must be hungry. Oh, pause on the paint. All right, now here comes the exciting part. So in theory, everything should, I have a temporary ground working. All right, so there's the temp ground running to the volt gauge just for now. I do have, again, the grounding bars, but I'm not hooked up to those yet. And then what I ended up doing, I diverted from this. This has got a lot of, yeah, it's got some typos in it. So I ended up wiring these off of this set, which is pushed over to that set. And there was another, I got rid of the secondary switched hotline, but ran it all into here. There we go. So that all works out. Still got to get fuel, oil, and water temp set up. Now we also have a small little momentary switch here. There is no instructions for it, but it's not really that hard. It's going to go right into the odometer itself. Well, the speedometer harness in the back, and then it just kind of gets grounded out. But there's no wiring for that, so we're going to have to try to find some really, really, really tiny little adapters for that. And then we have our, I kind of want to call this newfangled wireless stuff, but it's not really wireless. It still needs to be wired in. So essentially our temp gauge, we're going to have to wire that one in. You can see the lead right in there. So we're going to have to drain the radiator. Now, thanks for pointing this one out, guys. When I first did the unboxing, first thing I saw was this. All right, so you got to give me some credit in the packaging. Thought it was a brake switch. It's an oil pressure sender. I get it. I understand now. I appreciate the appreciate you guys pointing that one out. But yeah, that's all I saw. So when I saw that, first thing that came to mind was, well, can't really see that in there, but that's what I was thinking of. So what we're gonna have to do is, I really don't think this is gonna fit with our setup. So we're gonna have to kind of look into this and see how this is gonna work. We're gonna have an extra braided oil pressure line here that's going to be nice for a, you know, we got extra parts for a future project. So far, I'm pretty glad everything works so far. I didn't really screw up the electrical too much. I don't try to be an electrician. I'm not an electrician, and I don't try to be an electrician on YouTube because, hey, if there's anybody that'll screw it up, it's me. But, you know, hey, the headlights are working. So as long as the headlights are working, really you only need the, heck, I think we did a good job. So don't forget to hit the like and subscribe, guys, and we'll finish out the project next time.